Masachet Baba Batra Daf Ayin Ham Mud Aleph 34 lines down. Metzia, we had a question regarding the size of the stones for the Bet HaMikdash. We mentioned the pearls for the doors. Hashem said, I'll leave you very high. Meir says 200 amot. Kishte komot shel Adam Rishon, which is twice the height of Adam Rishon, who was 100 amot tall. Not many people know that. Rabbi says 100 amot. Keneged Hechal Kutla, corresponding to the height with בית המקדש, נאמר שנאמר, אשר בנינו קטנים וגדולים בנותיהם בנות בנותינו כזוויות מלאכותיות תבנית היכל. So we see that people will be 100 amot tall. So how are you entering through gates that are only 20 amot tall? Like Rabbi Yochanan said. The Gemara says no. The gates for 20 amot in the future gates of Bet HaMikdash are not for walking. That's just the windows for air. Each tzaddik will have 7 canopies for himself in Olam Haba. Shneimar, Ubara Hashem, Kol Mechon Har Tzion Ba'al Mikra'eha, Anan Yomam, Ve'ashan Ve'nogaha Esh Leheva Laila, Ki Akol Kavod Chupa. Now, at the end, it says, Melamed teaches you, each person will have his own canopy for his honor. Now, the Gemara says, in that pasuk mentioned smoke. Ashan bechupa lama, already have smoke by the canopies. Whoever had a stingy eye regarding Tamid HaChamim in this world, his eyes will fill with smoke in the next world. What's the point of fire, as it says in the pasuk? Each person will be burned in shame by his friend's better canopy. Such a woe is it to us for the people who are better than us in Allah, because that's eternal. Similarly, the pasuk says, Hashem told Moshe, you shall give your majesty upon Yeshua. It didn't say all of it, there's some. Therefore they said, the face of Moshe is like the sun, but the face of Yeshua is like the moon. The moon just reflects off the sun. Unfortunate for Yeshua that he only got a portion of the majesticness of Moshe, but he didn't receive it fully. And so to everybody else, if they don't do a lot in Olam Hazeh, they'll be embarrassed by their friends who have more than them in Olam Haba. Hashem made 10 canopies for them Rishon in Gan Eden. Every precious stone, and then it lists 10 of them, gold last. So Esrei means 11, because Shnemar Kol Even Yikara mentions every precious stone plus the other 10. Gold is the least of them because the last of the 10 stones mentioned was gold, and therefore we see gold was the least precious. What does it mean that the work of your drums and the holes are within you? Hashem told Hiram, when I created the world, I looked at you, and therefore I created people to have holes and having to go to the bathroom, because Hiram later on claims that he's God. So Hashem created the requirement for a human to discharge himself to show that Hiram was not the God. I saw Hiram, and therefore I said that it should be a concept of death, so that people don't think you're a God. What does it mean that by Har Tzion and the people gathering? Yerushalayim, this was not like Yerushalayim next world. Whoever wants to go up to this one can go. You can only go up to Yerushalayim only if you're invited. Wow. Eventually, Bnei Israel, the tzaddikim are going to be called by Hashem's name. Shneimar pasuk says, "Kol hanikra b'shmi v'lechvoti barativ yitzarativ af hasitiv." 3 people who are called by Hashem's name. Tzaddikim, Umashiach, Yerushalayim. Tzaddikim, Hatar we mentioned, Tzaddikim are mentioned like we just said earlier. Mashiach, where we see Mashiach is called by Hashem's name, Tichtiv. Hashem Tzidkenu. Yerushalayim, how do you say Yerushalayim? Tichtiv. Saviv Shemona Asar Aleph, B'Shem Ha'ir Miyom, Hashem Shama. Al Tikra Shama, don't say Hashem is there, Ela Shema. Hashem is its name of Yerushalayim. Mar B'Azar, Atin Tzaddikim Shomrim V'nein Kadosh. Angels will say Kadosh in front of the Tzaddikim, but Kiresh Shomrim V'nei Kadosh Baruch Hu, just like they say Kadosh in front of Hashem, right? Not Kadosh 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 Amanai Tzvot. Shneimar Pasuk Vayah Nishar B'Tzion V'Natar Yerushalayim Kadosh Ye'amer Lo. Amar Rabbi Rechman. Atid HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hadbiha Yerushalayim. Hashem is gonna lift up Yerushalayim. Shosha Parsot Malot, 3 Parsot high. Shneimar Pasuk says V'Ra'ama V'Yashva Tachteha. Ma Tachteha was mean in his place. Ki Tachteha. It'll be lifted up as high as big as it is. Umeda high Tachteha Tlata Parses. So how we know that it's big? It's three parsot big, and that's why it's being lifted 3 parsot high. Maraba Marli Ahusaba, a certain old man told me, and Tosafot in Cholin says that famous line of a certain old man is referring to Leon Navi. The Didi Hazli Yerushalayim Kamaita, I saw the initial Yerushalayim, Tlata Parsahava was 3 parsot wide. You may feel, I think, yes, since it's high, it'd be hard to get there. People are going to fly like pigeons. The people are going to use like clouds to rise up to Yerushalayim easily. Hashem initially wanted to give Yerushalayim a set size without giving ability to grow. Shneimar says, Zachariah saw an angel with a measuring stick, and he said, "Where are you going?" He said to me, to measure Yerushalayim, see how big it is. The angel saw Hashem. You gave many nations and many cities and countries their own land. You never measured that. Yerushalayim, regarding Yerushalayim, where your name is inside, your Bet HaMikdash is inside. But the Tzedekим are in there. You're going to limit it? Yeah, therefore, roots it will always grow with the size of people inside. Hashem is going to end up adding to Yerushalayim gardens equaling 1,000 times tet pefet, which is 169,000 gardens. Elef kefel migdalim, 1,000 times the word kefel regarding towers, 210,000 towers. Elef litzui beiranot, castles, the number of litzui, which is 146, 1,000 times, is 146,000. Elef ushne shilo tutrot, fortresses, 1,002 times the number of 345. Each these places will have enough people, like the city of Tzipori, which was very, very packed in its prime. Penya, Marabi said, underneath Tzipori B'Shavta, I saw Tzipori while it was in its prime. There were 180,000 marketplaces just to sell cholents, stew. Pasuk says that regarding Bet HaMikdash, there were 3 chambers, chamber on top of a chamber, 33 times. We had this pasuk earlier in the beginning of Masechet. My shalosh u'shloshim pa'amim. What does it mean? 33 times. What a weird word. 33 or 3. Why are you saying times? To teach you. Mar Levi, Mar the Sichni. In Yerushalayim, in the Lamaba, there'll be 3 Yerushalayim will be 3 times as big. Each of them will have 30. Each place will have 30 apartments going up to live there. Yerushalayim will be 30 times as big. Every person will have 3 quote-unquote apartments above. Okay, back to reality. Itmar, Sfina, if you're selling a boat to acquire it, once you pull the ship to acquire it, can I acquire it? Even if you move it an inch. Shmuel says, you don't acquire it until you pull it all the way the length of the boat. So if the boat's 1,000 feet, you have to pull it 1,000 feet to move it the entire length of the size. Maybe it's because we see how do you acquire a large animal of misira? By giving over. The buyer takes it by its hoof, with his hair, by the saddle, or the load that's on it, or by the thing that's in its mouth, or the bell on its neck. You acquire it. How do you acquire by Mashiach? By pulling it. If you call it and it comes to you. Or if he hits it with a stick and it comes to him. Once it lifts up front and back leg, you acquire it, seemingly the minimum. The animal has to walk the full length of its size. So maybe that's the machloket. We see the first opinion holds just to move a little bit, the front leg and back leg, and the second opinion holds to walk the entire size. The same thing by the boat. Gemara says no, it's different. Rabbi say, maybe I agree with Rabbi Acha. Rabbi Acha only said regarding moving completely by animals. Because if you're just moving one front leg, one back leg, it could technically be in the same spot. Regarding a boat, maybe a cave in another bad porta, another kula. Once it moves a little bit, it counts, and because the entire thing has moved. Shmuel says also, I may not hold like Tanakama. Tanaka said over there that you don't have to move only a little bit regarding the animals. The cave in because once it moves a little bit front and back leg, the rest of the animal is going to move, right? You don't just move two legs. Regarding boat, maybe by a buyer who's buying a boat, Tanakama might hold that you can't just move it the minimum. He has to move it completely the full size. Maybe it's different. Tanya, Svina niknet Meshicha. A boat can be acquired through Meshicha, like Tanakama. Rabbi Tana says, Sefina otiyot, a boat or letters, which is referring to a buying a debt, right? So I'm buying the debt that Shimon owes Levi, the IOU note. So a boat or letters, niknet Meshicha, can be acquired by handing it over to Meshicha. Ubishtar in the document. Now the Gemara says, Otiyot mandachashme. Why are we talking about letters all of a sudden? No one mentioned letters buying IOU notes. The Gemara says, okay, we're missing some words, so I should read it. Svina niknet meshicha. A boat can be acquired through meshicha by taking it. And a letter can be acquired through handing it over. Rabbi Natan says, a letter or a boat can be acquired through meshicha and a document. The Gemara says, why do I need a document to acquire a boat? Movable objects don't need a document. Only land does. The Gemara says, therefore, maybe you might say, a boat can be acquired through meshicha, taking, like pulling something. A letter can be hired just handing over the letter. I don't have to sell you the actual thing inside. Rabbi says, the boat can be acquired through meshicha, pulling it, and the letter can be acquired just through a document. I am selling my IOU to Levi. Now, Sfina b'Mashicha, can Rabbi Natan say that you can acquire a boat just by pulling it? I know Tanakama. It's the exact same thing as Tanakama. What's the difference? Maybe the difference between Tanakama and Rabbi Natan is the machloket of how much you have to move it. Seemingly, because he shouldn't say, "Oh, I hold you have to do Mashicha." Oh, seemingly, but Tanakama also says you have to do Mashicha. I hold this. He said, "I hold the same thing." So what's the difference? Maybe the difference is how much you have to move it. Maybe one opinion holds you to move it minimal. One opinion holds you to do it a lot. Gemara says that's not necessarily true. The kulama ikirav ikishmuel, they could hold either one, whether it's a minimal or a full size. The svina kulama pligi, they don't even argue by vote. Ki pligi, what's the machloket? Baotiot regarding the letter. Vachi kama this is the machloket. What's going on? He's telling him as follows: regarding the boat, I agree. You could do Mashicha, whether it's a minimal or that or a lot amount. That's machloket Rav and Shmuel. But regarding letters, if you have a document for it, good, and it's a good sale. But if you don't have a document saying that you're selling the debt, it's not a good sale.